Hey everyone, I'm the Bat Otter, and today I'm going to be reviewing the first volume of Stardust Crusaders from Viz Media, the Jojonium collection, which is really the only collection, but it's in this format. Y'all have probably seen it before. It's the only English translated version of the manga. Oh, actually, there is a paperback, but it's from way back in the 90s, so this is probably the easiest one that you're going to get. Anyway, I've already reviewed Golden Wind, the another part of Stardust Crusaders, and one more? I think I've done one more. I've done a couple of JoJo reviews already. You guys seem to like them. They get the most views, so I'm gonna keep on doing them because that's good for me, and apparently it's good for y'all. And I also like Stardust Crusaders a lot. I've been meaning to review this. First things first, it is again in the Jojonium format, so you have an Araki sketch of a character from the part on the front, usually a sketch of a stand or another character on the back, with this neat little design and bordering on the inside and out. You get some thematic drawings on both of the cover pages, both the front and the back, that are thematic of the part, and of course you get the interview in the back. Now the interview in the back is different from other interviews in later editions of the manga in America, in that these interviews are specifically tailored to creating the characters, and later editions of the interviews are anecdotes, just things that Araki points out. Like one of them is top 10 songs that always make me cry. That's the thing. Check out one of the Diamond is Unbreakable volumes. Check out one of those. In the back you'll find a whole list of songs that make Araki cry. One of the songs, a lot of the songs are from the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. So, you know that old John Travolta movie? Have any of y'all seen that? Anyway, you're watching this video, of course you haven't. So yeah, let's get on with it. Now, the first thing to note about Stardust Crusaders, everybody's seen it, everybody has seen the memes, everybody knows what Stardust Crusaders is, so I'm going to be explaining a story that all of you know, so that's going to be fun. Thing is, about this manga, I was recently looking back into it because I was making a drawing, here's the drawing right here, ooh, plug, of a scene from this volume of the book, and I needed to reference the book because I needed to see what Hierophant Green's kind of tentacles, tendrils, whatever you want to call them, I needed to see what the design was, because I know it was a very detailed and rendered design on them, but I wanted to see if I could get what they were inspired by. And even after looking at this, follow me on Instagram, by the way, at the Bat Otter, even after looking at this book and seeing the multiple instances where I can reference the tendrils, I still don't get much. So let me see if I could get a good shot here. Here's one. If anybody could explain to me what is supposed to be going on here in the design, because this is just one of the many small shots of the design that we get in the book. There should be one more of Kakyoin standing on it. Get it? Standing. Give me a second. Let's see. I know it ought to be somewhere. There it is. So you see, even from page to page, it's almost like the patterns change on it. Even the shape, because initially it looks round like a tentacle, but here it looks a bit more flat like a ruler. So, needless to say, I have not figured it out. If anybody could tell me what this is inspired by, or what he could possibly be thinking when illustrating these tendrils, please do tell me. I'm very curious to find out, because I probably do want to illustrate them, and they're fun to draw, fun to make those little patterns. Anyway, so the book starts out. We're in Tokyo, in Japan. We get introduced to the newest Jojo, and that is everybody's favorite Jotaro Kujo. Soon to be deadbeat dad, but not yet. Being a thug. He's in a prison cell, he's cussing out his mother, and he's illustrated shotgunning beers and in just very large, menacing way. He looks very evil, and I like the approach that Araki took with this. We get introduced to Joseph and Joseph's friend, and the concept of stands very shortly after, and we get some retconning with Dio, in order to set up the rest of the story. But the thing about the Stardust Crusaders manga that you're going to notice is the artwork in it is to me, peak artwork. Now, the argument can be made, okay, well, Giorno was not supposed to look like this, right? And he wasn't. You're right. He's not supposed to be a very foreboding, intimidating figure. He's supposed to be more friendly, more normal, I guess you could say, right? He's not supposed to be this huge, intimidating figure, is what I'm trying to express. And yeah, that makes sense. But I think as a whole, the artwork in Stardust Crusaders, throughout the manga, by the way, because I looked at this, and I went all the way to volume 10 of the series where he fights Dio, and all throughout, the art just seems to be consistently better. Now, is that because he put the most amount of work into it? Did he peak as an artist? Who knows? I wanna take a look at every part in the series and dissect the artwork. So again, we get introduced to the concept of stands. Jotaro having a very large, out of control, powerful stand that he can't really control. So Avdol comes in to tame him, and we get incredible shots like this, where there's splash page. You get a lot of expressiveness from the stands and the characters themselves. He's a very evil-looking stand, Jotaro referring to the stand as an evil spirit, choking out Avdol's stand, and we get this really menacing shot right here of Star Platinum, an early design. Now, obviously, anybody who knows Araki's work knows that the characters and their designs change as the story goes on, sometimes even from page to page, so that's nothing new. But the expressiveness and the poses, the intrigue and the unique designs that he experiments with on the stands, having them just be punching ghosts effectively with buff dude bodies and all relatively humanoid in nature, he really maximized the potential of what he could do. He squeezed every drop that he could out of the designs, out of the premise in the story, and honestly just ran with it. As you can see here, he's breaking out of the cell. He's about to throw this steel bar at Avdol, and then Avdol stops because Jotaro is out of the cell. And he's like, oh, I'm out of the cell. Good job, you got me. So Joseph gives him the lowdown. In case you don't know the family tree, here it is. We have the original Jojo from this guy. He got killed by Dio, and then part 2 happens. Then we skip a part, and we get Jotaro Kujo, the only female Joestar aside from Jolene. And we get this nice little recap going over everything. There's Arena, there's the fight with Dio, there's Joseph, and there they are. Boom, all caught up. Joseph stand, Hermit purple, it could see through cameras. Look, they're Joestars. Great, that's great. And we get the classic shot of Dio in this one. Of Dio's back, that is. From Joseph's camera. So, as the story goes on, Jotaro, he's a delinquent. All the girls love him, and he's just telling them, go away, I don't like women, I haven't hit puberty yet. So, he meets this other guy named Kakyoin, who sends him tumbling over the stairs. They get some Dio exposition, and we get the first fight. Well, the second fight, but the first fight against the villain, and that is Kakyoin, who possesses the nurse, makes her do crazy things, and we get the classic pose. A lot of classics in this particular manga. They fight, and again, we get the introduction of Hierophant Green, along with the tarot cards. So, I could keep on going on, giving y'all the spark notes of the manga, which I kind of will, but at the same time, I'll start focusing on other things, because I don't like just, oh, look, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. One of the things that we do get here is Araki experimenting with what stands are and what they're not, and also going into his first attempts at making something very JoJo in nature, because obviously in part 2 we had the Pillarmen, who were just buff Aztec gods, but even though it was a lot of buff guys doing buff things, it was never fist fighting. It was never Dragon Ball Z, I'm gonna punch you, you're gonna punch me, and all that sort of stuff. It was always 4-dimensional chess. Everybody was thinking ahead of each other. Everybody was doing all sorts of things. And so introducing the concept of stands was able to remove him from the limits that Hamon put on him and vampiric abilities, because he could only take those so far. And the character building as well in this book, it really shines brightly. I think that while a lot of people say that Stardust Crusaders may be overrated, anything like that, they obviously haven't read the manga, they haven't rewatched the series, because what he does to build the characters up and just plainly illustrate very dramatic and deep themes within the story, whether that is a charismatic evil villain that can seduce you with just his voice, that Abdul is running away from scared because he knows that he's in the presence of pure evil. Everything that Araki does to illustrate the drama and the tension going on in the story, he illustrates to the best potential in a lot of Stardust Crusaders. I mean, I remember even watching it, I wasn't that interested in it at first, but the way that he illustrated Dio, how menacing Dio was throughout the story, was very, it pulled me in a lot. And like I said, if you've been paying attention to the artwork at all, you'll notice how smooth it is compared to some of his later work, whether that is part 4 through 5, or 4 through 8, that is. And granted, while it is a completely different style, you can't deny that as a whole, the artwork is much more smooth in Stardust Crusaders consistently than it is in something like part 5, part 4. And whether that's from his experimentation with different special effects that he uses, or the fact that he took the story in a far different direction than he was taking it here, whatever the case may be, to me it's undeniable. So we get the second stand, which is Tower of Grey. They're on an airplane because it sets up the concept of traveling around the world in 50 days because they have to save Jotaro's mother from a stand that she can't control because she's too pure of heart or something, right? So this guy, he's a beetle that Kyoan eventually takes out. And it turns out he was controlled by an old man. It introduces the concept of who is this stand user? Who is he? And they drop that shortly after. All in all, a good story. Here's another shot of Hierophant Green's tentacles. Let's see. There. Again, what's he going for here? It's almost like jewelry. It's like alien. It's like fish. I really can't tell. Somebody tell me. I mean, generally the story offers a lot of interest. They get into Singapore, which is where they meet the next villain turned friend, Polnareff. He shows up with his stand, Silver Chariot, and we get, again, some really good illustrations and menacing faces. He doesn't have eyebrows. It's good stuff. I highly recommend it. We get an illustration of the Tiger Gardens in Singapore. Yeah, so generally, all in all, the fight with Abdul Polnareff, it's very entertaining. And towards the end of it, whenever Abdul wins, he gives Polnareff the ability to kill himself. Polnareff refuses, and they're like, oh, wow, you're very strong, join the team. So he does, and that's where it ends. So as I was saying, all in all, very good book. Would highly recommend it if you're getting into JoJo. Everybody talks about part skippers. Me personally, I haven't watched the entirety of part 1 or part 2. I just don't have any interest in it. I like what I like. You guys are going to like what you guys like. So if you just want to read part 3, go for it. I highly recommend it. It's really good. To me, it's one of the easiest parts to jump on, understand everything. And the great thing about JoJo, despite what everybody may tell you, is you can honestly jump on at any part that you want and understand what's happening. It explains everything to you. You understand the characters, you understand the abilities, everything like that. There's not a single thing that you miss. Granted, if you watch the other parts, yeah, you're going to pick up more bits and pieces, but it's not going to be... You don't need to watch it, is what I'm saying. So yeah, definitely check it out. I'll have more videos up reviewing, probably some more, because I have more of these volumes, might as well review them. And I'll probably be returning to Berserk here soon. So yeah, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, all those great things. Follow me on Instagram, once again, at TheBadOtter, where you'll see many, many other things like this, drawings like this. This is just a sneak peek is what I got on Instagram. So yeah, see y'all.